Abu Jamie, how's the hair?
Good.
How's this hair?
Good.
Yeah.
In 3, 2, 1. Welcome back. Another episode. How are you, my good man?
I'm all right, man.
What's new?
Not much. How are you?
Cheers. Well, you know, I have something to say when I Anyway, listen. Now let me start off by saying
All right, go
something.
ahead.
Careful.
Sorry.
Olympics.
Oh yeah.
Did you enjoy?
I didn't watch.
Very
But
good.
for the closing ceremony.
Ah, the closing ceremony. I was gonna bring that up. It's almost as if we've rehearsed this. Listen to this.
Nice little segue.
No, very bad segue. Tom Cruise jumping off Stade de France, grabbing the Olympic flag, motorbiking out, jumping off this, jumping off that. You know, everybody loving him, hugs and kisses all around. I mean, you know, Mr. Nice Guy.
Yeah.
Mr. Beloved by all.
Mr. Beloved by all.
Mr. Number One to his fans.
Yes.
And, you know, and always with a deep look.
And not to mention, put your beer down for a second, not to mention this.
Oak. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But here's what I want to point out. To you, okay?
Did you see him pick up the photographer at Victoria Beckham's wedding, the one who
Oh
flipped
yeah,
over?
and by the way, he's everywhere.
I would like to mimic that.
Go on.
But you know, I'm mic'd in.
Okay,
Should I try it for you?
Yeah. I mean, listen. It's okay, I don't need your help. Listen, no, this is what I want to say. This summer, apart from the Olympics, Wimbledon, Victoria Beckham's party, Glastonbury, Taylor Swift concert, I don't know, that guy's concert, this guy's concert, he's everywhere.
British summertime.
And like, by the way, like what's going on? Because everywhere he goes, people are worshipping him, right?
It's true.
10 years ago, it wasn't so. Tell me I'm wrong.
So you've said.
Tell me I'm wrong. He was bouncing off couches. He was talking about Scientology like there's no tomorrow. Crazy eyes, prescription drugs, pointing his fingers at like different actors. You're like this, you're like that, you're crazy, he's nuts, blah, blah, blah. Abandoning his daughter, Suri. Okay? But he's managed to turn it around. He went quiet for a while.
Yeah.
And now he's turned around. I call it the Cruise-aissance. The Cruise Renaissance. What?
Cruise-aissance?
The Cruise-aissance, exactly. Thank you.
Doesn't
Very good.
really work.
Episode
but okay.
over. We're done. No? Yes.
I'd like to just reference one of the great poems of our time.
Oh my God. Okay. Are you seriously going to tell us?
I am going to seriously say, I am the
Jamie,
last
have you sanctioned this?
barman poet.
Oh, no.
I see America getting... What's wrong?
No,
I see America drinking the fabulous cocktails I make. People are getting stirry on things like shake. The sex on the beach, the schnapps made from peach, the velvet hammer, the Alabama slammer. I can't remember the rest of it.
All right, that is...
You heard from Cocktail?
Yes, from Cocktail. Very good.
Not
Now
really.
Can we end the episode?
It was a bit wonky,
Now
but
can
nevertheless, we can have the episode.
Okay.
Okay. So, you're here to talk about the Cruise-aissance.
Yes.
I'm all about that.
You agree with what I'm saying?
I quasi-agree with what you're saying. I think in order to reference this properly, we should chronicle his ascent since the early 80s, my favorite era in modern civilization, in ancient civilization.
So what are we gonna do? What are we gonna ascertain from going through every decade and every film and every hairstyle he's had? Which I'm guessing that's what you're planning to do.
I am definitely planning on doing that. Not to mention the shades of tan, by the way,
Okay, fine.
or lack thereof. In any case, I think that
Sorry, just checking some shit out.
distractions.
Go on.
Okay.
Yeah.
In any case,
Yeah.
because to determine the Cruise-aissance,
Yes.
it's important
Yes.
to understand the ascent,
Yes.
and then what you determine to be the descent,
Yes.
and then the reinvigoration,
Go ahead.
the reimagination.
Let's go for it. Let's stop talking about it. Let's just do it.
Okay. Born July 3rd, 1962.
Oh, God, are we starting
Just
it first?
please.
Oh my God.
And I've thought about this, and it is surely not a coincidence that he is conceived in the same year that the nuclear standoff between Cuba, Russia, and the US is taking place, a mere 4 months after his birth. How can it be a coincidence that in the same year the world's most famous action star would be born? And the power shift would move west thereafter.
Oh, wow.
It cannot be a coincidence.
Wow. Okay, deep. Yes.
Deep.
Okay. Yeah, I like it. Go on.
Something was in the stars. Something was in the waters. Okay. So he is born. Okay, and spends the next 20 years going to 15 schools in 14 years.
Okay.
Flirting with
All
a
right.
potential
Okay,
priesthood.
so this is going beyond what you were talking about. We're talking about his
Excuse me.
early
Let me
life.
just give some context. Okay. Flirting with a potential priesthood. Dreams and aspirations to entering into sports, wrestling, football, didn't work out. 5'7" tall, all of him, which is apparently how tall I stand in my 2-inch elevator shoes, like his as well. We should talk about that too, by the way.
Sure.
I've done some very good
Sure.
analysis on the
Okay,
elevator
that's
shoes,
fine.
by the way. Okay, Guido Maggi, great brand, by the way, and Masaltos. Abu Jimmy, you know about that, right? Very good brands. Good plug. They should give us a sponsorship, by the way. Okay, anyways, but essentially, right after basically an upbringing like riddled in poverty, okay, he's basically shot out of a cannon in the early 80s. Okay, stars in Coppola's often forgotten and not particularly great The Outsiders. Now, you've seen this film.
love that film.
Okay, that pooled together some of the brat packers of the 80s, including Mrs. Estevez, head brat packer, and then fringe members like Matt Dillon.
Rob Lowe is in
Rob Lowe
is in The Outsiders.
He is in The
right? Yeah.
Outsiders.
Swayze, Ralph Macchio,
Correct. C. Thomas Howell.
C. Thomas Howell. Okay, anyway.
Who else are we missing out?
None.
Kevin Dillon?
Continue.
No, Matt Dillon.
Okay,
All
just-
right. Anyways, kind of blends into that role without much fanfare. And then, a year later, one of the great iconic films of the 80s, Risky Business.
Okay.
Okay.
Fine. Yes, great film. And
Okay, so I'm saying here is where his the Cruise-aissance starts.
No,
Okay, the birth. So I should say the birth.
Yes.
His birth starts, right? And particularly notable for this film is that it's a kind of a dark take on what some of his contemporaries from The Outsiders are doing at that time. Those guys starring in the John Hughes family-friendly ensemble pieces.
Yes.
A la...
No, it's very different. It's much darker. A lot of sexual content, a lot of sexual connotations, prostitution, sex, drugs, rock and roll. Obviously, not for the kids, as a lot of those Brat Pack films were for kids and focused on teenagers and their happy-go-lucky lives. This was not that.
And perhaps the first, not maybe the most iconic, but up there, shots of Tom Cruise, which was, from that film?
Are you really literally going to go through every film? Is
No,
that your
not every
plan?
film. Not every film. It's very important.
Okay, no, we know, everybody knows Risky Business, fine, we get it. The underwear, the singing,
Thank
the
you very
dancing,
much.
fine.
Yes. Okay, fine. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I wouldn't say he became a film star at this point, but
Abu Jamie's going to go through every
but
film.
3 years.
You know it's happening.
But 3 years later,
Grab a blanket, cup of tea, we're going to be here for a while. Go ahead.
you got somewhere else to be?
No, I don't actually. It's facts.
Okay,
I
3
don't.
years later, Simpson Bruckheimer Productions, cast him in the lead in Top Gun, which would become maybe the most celebrated, maybe the most iconic film of the 1980s. I know you're not a big fan of it.
At all. I think it's rubbish.
Much more the sequel, right?
Maverick, amazing.
Okay.
Top Gun original, doesn't even make sense. What's the plot? What's going on? Who's this woman who looks like his mother? Who's his best mate, who's actually his boyfriend? And he's obviously in love with Iceman. What? The film is weird.
Very good take on it, by the way. All right, in any case,
Doesn't take a genius.
it is the making of a star, that film. You accept that it's the making of a star.
I do,
right?
I do.
What do you remember about that film?
Aviators.
What say you, sir?
Aviators.
Bomber jacket, aviator, white t-shirt,
Motorbike.
hairstyles, motorbike.
And a lot
shark
of
grin-
homosexuality.
Shark grin smile.
Homosexuality.
Okay, fine. Well,
Nothing wrong with that.
nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
Okay, the making of a star.
Yes.
Okay, and in the same year, which I think would become his, even if he didn't know it inadvertently at the time, one of his big, strong calling cards. He would combine a big studio film like Top Gun
Right.
with a film that would appease and satisfy film critics.
Right.
Color of Money in the same year.
Fine.
Scorsese's unheralded, I wouldn't say masterpiece, but unheralded film, which was a sequel to The Hustler starring Paul Newman,
Yeah.
with Cruise in the supporting
Yeah.
role.
Oh, we're still in the 80s, by the way, are we?
Yes, we're still in the
Okay.
80s. We're in 86, okay? We're in 86. So Cruise is pumped out
Oh, Jamie,
the
got something to
big,
say there? Something
big
you had?
blockbuster Top Gun. And by the way, I would like to make that point also. Collaborating with important directors throughout. Tony Scott.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's not forget him.
The-
Should we talk about him for half an hour?
No,
before we
we're not
move
just going
on?
to talk about it. Let me just sum it up for you. Tony Scott, the helmer of great films like Beverly Hills Cop,
Yes.
like Crimson Tide,
Yes.
like Days of Thunder
Yes.
Later, like Man on Fire,
Yes.
and of course Top Gun. That jittery, frenetic camera work, smoke-filled rooms that would become his forte. Collaborating with him, and then Scorsese in the same year. Aces, A+ on both accounts, okay?
Well, Color of Money didn't do so well, did it?
It didn't do well at the box office, but Newman won his...
Best actor? Best supporting actor?
Yes, the one that eluded him for about 30 years
fine.
in the making.
Oh, so it was kind of like, oh, he deserves it, he's done so much. Kind of like when Scorsese won for The Departed.
One of the darkest moments
Okay,
of
so
your
yes,
film
exactly.
fanaticism,
Again,
if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not a big fan of The Departed, mainly because it's just infernal affairs, the Hong Kong film, if you've seen it. Anyway, regardless, so one that doesn't do well is Color of Money, but all the other films, massive blockbusters so far.
I'm just going to say as well, he takes a 1-year break, okay, and then comes back 2 years later,
Wow.
doubles down
Wow.
with the studio film Cocktail,
Yes.
one of my favorites,
Yes.
which won the Razzie for Worst Picture that year. And, ironically, the film that wins Best Picture of the year in 1988, Rain Man,
Very good.
which has the unique distinction of being not just the highest grossing film of 1988, but also winning Best Picture.
Okay.
Now that is rarefied air, my friend.
Okay.
I think Titanic did that about 10 years later.
Sure.
But think about how you're a 26-year-old guy at
Yes.
the top of your game.
Okay.
Okay.
So he's
You've
riding
basic-
high.
You've
He's
basic-
riding high. He's
you've-
dominated the
you-
80s.
you-
Let's
you-
talk about his rivals. Yes. Okay. Yes, he's done very well.
I'm just gonna
Oh,
put-
wait. Oh, thank
Oh
you
my
very
God!
much.
We got ourselves a.
We got a sponsor.
Let me just do it in the way that it's done in Days of Thunder, as exclaimed by Randy Quaid playing race cars owner Tim Dalen.
Wow.
We got ourselves a sponsor.
All right. So listen.
Just promise me one thing. After this, we win Daytona next year.
Cars and Water. Get it at your local shops, or on Amazon, or on any other sort of platform. Very good. Thank you, Abu Jamie. Continue.
okay, let me thank
Okay,
you,
so
thank-
listen, are we at the end of the 80s?
No, we're not at the end of the 80s. We're almost at the end of the 80s. I just want to say. I just want to say.
Abu Jamie, what's the time? How much time on the clock? Continue. Nobody.
I just want to say that imagine having the unique distinction of being a 26-year-old
Yes.
guy. You've starred now
Yes.
alongside Paul Newman, who won the Best Actor in 1986, 1987, and Dustin Hoffman 2 years later, who wins Best Actor for Rain Man in the Best Picture of the year. And there you are at the top of your game, the hunk of Hollywood. You've done more for not aviators. You've done as much for Ray-Bans as, I guess, Redford did for aviators about 15 years prior, okay? The world's at your feet, okay? Married to Mimi Rogers at this point, by the way. We'll come on to that in a second, okay? But in any case, the world's your oyster. You're the big swinging dick of Hollywood.
Yes.
Okay, you've got box office powerhouse movies behind you and critical acclaim from people like Siskel and Ebert,
How many times
Leonard
is he gonna repeat
Maltin,
himself?
Barry
How many
Norman,
times
and
is
so
he
on
gonna
and so
repeat the
forth,
same
okay?
thing? How many times?
Now, the 80s
Not
are
enough, evidently.
the 80s are coming to a close, and by the way,
Alhamdulillah.
just a thing. By the way, his rivals in this era.
Yes.
Okay. Who do you remember being his big rivals in the 80s?
Ralph Macchio.
Okay, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Ralph. No.
Anyone else?
No. River Phoenix.
Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson. Thank you, Abu Jamie.
But Mel Gibson is like twice his age.
No, he's not. Well, Mel
Okay.
Gibson is 6 years older than
Okay,
him.
fine.
Okay.
Gibson.
Okay.
Fine.
Gibson. Costner, would you say?
Sure.
Okay. And by the way, outside of that, you have actually older stars who
No,
are
but you
either
also have Christian, but his contemporaries are like Christian
Slater.
Slater and all these kind of guys, you know. Matt
And-
Dillon, as you had mentioned.
and by the way, also at this point, from his Brat Packers, they're all now sort of fading out.
Right, yes.
Because they're becoming a little bit older.
Yes.
And none of them have managed to kind of capture
No.
the box office
because
zeitgeist.
that sort of trend was dying. That
Yeah.
teenage movie, it was kind of on its way out. Big action blockbusters were on their way in. And yeah, so they didn't really manage to adapt as well as Cruise did.
Yeah. Now, I just want to ask you something.
And
As-
that's the key, by the way, his adaptability.
Adaptability.
I guess. Okay, go on. What were we going to
No,
ask?
what I was going to ask you is why you think,
Yes.
okay, he stood essentially alone in 1990,
Yeah.
while all of his kind of contemporaries
yes.
underneath him
Yeah.
didn't manage to. You're saying that adaptability,
Yeah.
but also
Scientology. Adaptability, Scientology. Those were the two
Okay.
things. You know what I mean? Hey, get down with Dianetics. That's what I say.
Or is it because you know when
so
you're
you have an answer.
when
So
you,
it's
well,
rhetorical.
no, I'm just
It was
asking
a
that
rhetorical.
when you're a young buck.
Yes,
right,
a young buck. Those were the days. Yes.
your success is not really down to design. Okay, I mean him being cast in Top Gun, he
Yeah.
was not the big name in Hollywood at the time.
No.
Do you think, for example, had Top Gun been cast with Rob Lowe instead of Tom Cruise, that Rob Lowe would have had Tom Cruise's career?
Possibly.
You think so?
Possibly.
So you think that his success then is down more to luck than to just basically being
No,
like
he's also a very good actor.
Yeah.
He's also a very good actor. So let's not forget that. And his dedication to his craft and the kind of, you put in the effort, you get the results. And he obviously puts in a lot of effort.
Agreed. Now,
Okay,
just,
we move? Okay, go
just
on.
because the cosmetics.
Okay.
Just a quick fire.
Sure.
Okay. The 80s look. What do you
Yeah.
remember of Cruise in the 80s?
I know, like
I've
crew
become
cut.
the interviewer now.
Crew cut.
Crew cut.
Yeah, like that short crew cut hair, the
Well,
army military hair.
It's not in which film.
Okay, listen, if you have an answer, why are you asking?
No, I'm
Just
asking
tell
you
me-
what you
Tell me
remember.
what it is.
No,
What-
I'm just saying.
I remember crew cut. I
Okay,
can
you
tell
remember?
crew cut.
Okay.
Yeah, crew cut.
Okay.
That's what I remember.
Crew cuts. Okay. What
Yeah.
else? Bit of a
Aviators.
buffon. Aviator. Okay. Aviators and club masters.
Sure,
As
club
well.
masters.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Very good.
All right. So you remember crew cuts. Okay. A bit of mullet action in Cocktail and Rain Man
Sure.
as well.
So it's very varied.
It's
So
very
there's
varied.
no right answer.
T, by the way.
No right
Yeah.
answer. Again, adaptability.
Adaptability.
Hey, can we move on now?
All
to
right.
the 90s?
Okay.
Since you wanna go
Now
through
we're
every
getting
freaking
into
film.
now we're getting into the
now
90s.
we're getting into the meat of
Now,
it.
how does
that was just a precursor. He's now just getting warmed up. Please continue.
He's basically 28, 29, entering 1990.
Mm-hmm.
This is where he basically becomes the king of the box office. Okay, we've got Oscar nominations on the four.
Yeah.
Sit down, please.
Sorry.
Okay, we've got films he's headlining himself entirely, so he doesn't need a Hoffman or a Newman.
Yes.
Alongside him, right? Powering the movie.
Or a Macchio.
Or a Macchio, yeah, it's true. Well done. Yeah, well said. Yeah, okay. 1990, Days of Thunder, and by the way, Born on the 4th of July.
Wait. Can I just say you just contradicted yourself?
Why? What did I say?
Because Days of Thunder has Robert Duvall.
Okay, yeah, no. But wait. Duvall in the supporting role, right? Whereas the other films,
Hoffman is not the supporter.
so Hoffman won Best Actor in Rain Man, not Best Supporting Actor.
But like it's kind of a balanced. Okay, fine.
It is.
It's kind of a
No, it is.
double hander. What do you call it?
But they're not selling
a
Days
double
of,
fister.
But they're not selling Days of Thunder
Sure.
on Duvall's
You're right.
name under the
You're
poster,
right. You're
right?
right. You're
Who
right.
gives a sterling,
Yes.
earnest, powerful performance as Harry Hogg.
Okay, fine. All right.
Okay, I'm just saying.
This is
okay.
not the ASL standard, by the way. But continue. Was that the name of the newspaper?
It was.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anyways. But, okay, so again, great, double downing. One for the studio and one for himself.
Fine.
Born on the 4th of July, another great directorial collaboration, Oliver Stone.
Oliver Stone.
Okay, and Days of Thunder, he's reteaming with...
Not a success, by the way, that much, or was it?
It was kind of lukewarm.
Yeah.
But he earns his first Oscar nomination.
And
Born
he
on the 4th of
tries
July.
to get into now some serious roles.
He's getting into
this
the
is
meaty...
his foray into like
Correct.
some more, cerebral roles,
Correct.
rather than the like kind of fluff stuff.
Correct. And what's happening around this time? Out with Miss Rogers and in with Miss Kidman.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Kidman, they met on Days of Thunder. They
Yeah.
get it on.
He headhunted her, having seen her in Dead Calm.
Yes.
An underrated masterpiece, by the way.
Okay.
Great film.
A video for another time. Yes, it's a very good film.
All right, great movie. And with whom he would collaborate 3 times in the decade, by the way. Mm-hmm. And incidentally, I don't know if you know this, but all three collaborations met with some of his most, I don't want to say derisory reviews, right? Far and away.
Which I like.
I'm
I
not
mean,
a fan of that.
The Irish accents are a bit wonky, but
Very
apart,
wonky.
apart from that, it's quite a good film.
Thunder, which we discussed.
Yes.
And of course, at the end of the decade, Eyes Wide Shut, which we talk about, which we saw together, if you remember.
Yeah.
Some like 40 years ago.
That's true. That's true.
In any case, here he becomes, I think in this decade, he really starts to understand off-screen persona.
Okay.
Like Cruise and Kidman.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
what are your recollections? What are your memories of them off screen? I mean, it's the most high-profile power couple of that decade. No?
I don't really know. No, I don't remember like that. But yes, along with like other couples, yeah, they were up there.
Who do you remember alongside
but
them?
this, hold on.
Okay,
Can I just
I'm just saying.
pause you there? This was in a like internet
Correct,
age.
yeah.
So there was no social media. So this idea of like this, them being a power couple, yeah, they were a power couple, but it wasn't like as in your face as some of the couples or some of the celebrities are now. So I don't think, for me, it was not as significant back then.
Okay, but for its time,
Yeah.
for publishers at People Magazine,
Yes.
In Touch Weekly, and
Yeah.
these kind of
I
publications.
was more into Machio, bro.
Who was he with?
I don't
He's been
fucking
married
know.
since he was like 18 or something.
Legend.
By the way, aging in reverse. I hope you've seen
By
him
the
recently.
way, speaking of
You see
aging
him with the
in reverse-
goatee?
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it.
Oh my god. And the hair, by the way, he's fixed the hair. He looks amazing.
Jesus, I'm
And-
gonna have
and-
to search
You
it.
should watch him on Jimmy Kimmel
We're bringing it
recently.
up now.
Yeah, by the way, he looks amazing. Yeah, but go on. You were going to say?
No, that's it. What was I going to say? I can't even remember.
So you're saying he's getting into the meteor
Oh,
roles?
no. You're talking about aging reverse. I mean, Cruise himself, somewhat vampiric in that sense.
Well, it's funny because what's coming up?
Interview with a Vampire.
Interview with a
Now,
Vampire.
that's what you call a segue. Learn. Take notes.
I'm here to entertain you. I'm just when I was a kid, I just look at the stars. I just want to entertain you.
The forced laugh is a thing of insanity, that's for sure.
The forced laugh, yeah.
But he's like tapered that down. He's turned that
A little
down.
bit.
He's realized, I don't know who his like people are around him, his like PR department, but they've really learned a thing or two.
You think so?
Yeah. They've toned down the crazy in a big way. Because that's what he was known for. Going back to my original premise of this episode, the crazy has gone.
I bust my ribs laughing and shaking my
Okay,
hands so
fine.
hard, by
Go
the
on.
way.
Continue with your.
Okay, I'm just saying that
back catalogue of everything Cruise.
So other great films. I mean, I saw Bruce Willis interviewed at one point at Charlie Rose when he was promoting a film called Bandits, and he said it's amazing how Tom Cruise, not starring in franchise films, okay, can strike box office gold with every single film project he makes. He's like, and he actually says, it's like, I don't know what the secret sauce is. The rest of us.
Scientology.
Thank you, Abu Jamie.
Okay, it's a Scientology, is it? Okay, but Bruce Willis made that point on Charlie Rose's interview, and he's saying like it's amazing. I don't understand. Like, so whether it was A Few Good Men in 1992, courtroom thriller, I don't know how it would have read on the page, right? But like one of the great, courtroom films of all time, great dialogue, huge legacy, the back and forth with Jack Nicholson, and then you have also like 2 years later. 1 year later, you have The Firm.
Yes.
Which was like the most coveted book, whose film rights were being kind of like
it Tom Clancy?
auctioned. No, John Grisham.
John Grisham.
And that started that whole kind of culture of
Book adaptations.
No, and those the Grisham novels.
Yes.
Which had subsequently A Time to Kill with
Yeah.
McConaughey. The Client,
Yes.
Rainmaker,
Yes.
and others.
Yeah.
Oh, and Runaway Jury.
Yes, very good. Okay.
Okay. Anyways, yeah, just saying. So you have Rob Reiner, another one of the great directors, and then you have the most risque role he would take, which was Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah,
Okay.
one of my favorites.
Based on what's her name, Anne Rice.
Anne Rice,
Okay.
exactly. The Lestat Chronicles.
Yes, I think you're
that's
right
what
about
they
that.
call-
Yeah.
They have a show now. Very good.
Thank you, Abu Jamie. Emma Jamie, you're
Thank
like
you.
you're giving too much like input here. Like your quota has been far surpassed. Okay, you're allowed one more piece of information and then you're out. So just watch yourself. Don't get too big for your boots.
It's true. It's true. You're making me look bad.
Go
You're making me
on.
look bad. Anyways, so this film is very, very
Focus on the hair and the
strange.
clothes, all right? You.
Yeah, how's the tan? How's the
Anyway,
tan?
go on.
This is a very, very strange about turn for Cruise, playing this like almost like a homoerotic film, like with Brad Pitt, Antonio Banderas, Christian
You
Slater.
seem to forget about Top Gun, but anyway, go on.
This is more overt, right? And Anne Rice actually was very, very vocal in championing against his casting, thinking he didn't look like Lestat, he wouldn't move like Lestat, he wouldn't act like Lestat.
Yeah.
Later went on record to apologize and took out what do you call it?
An ad.
A column
Yeah.
to say how wrong she was. So he's flying high still.
Okay.
Right? Into the picture comes Connor
Listen,
and Isabella,
listen.
his two adopted children, the family unit building up, Kidman and him
What did he have
on
for
the red
lunch
carpet.
that day?
Huh?
What did he have for lunch? Listen, no, don't hold on, stop.
Boiled chicken and asparagus.
Grab my Abu Dhabi. Keep. Anyway, no. Here's what I was gonna say. here's what I was gonna say. Pass it over here. Put it down. Anyway, here's what I was gonna say.
Yes.
We get it. Throughout everything, the box office is always great. The personal life is what takes the hits.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Throughout it all, he's always been like a massive movie star.
Yes.
But the reputation was a bit shaky. I mean,
Not
how far
yet.
off War of the Worlds are we?
We're about 7-8 years off. I'm coming to that soon, okay?
All right,
You
okay.
just be
Wake
patient.
me up when you get to War of
you
the
just be
Worlds.
patient, Alex. You just be patient.
okay, thank you.
1995, the birth of the film franchise that would actually keep him relevant now, well into his 60s, and that is...
Mission Impossible.
I thought you were going to say Cobra Kai, but yeah, Mission Impossible, that's correct.
All right.
Okay, now MI1, okay, not a traditional action film by any means. De Palma, king of the set pieces, some amazing, well, set pieces, no doubt about that, right?
No, but listen, the thing is, I guess they were trying to do a modern day take on a James Bond film, right? That's what it kind of turned into. And then using different directors, very much that same formula that James Bond has,
Yeah.
right? Different takes on the character, although the principle is always the same. But what was interesting is in that first
Smart.
film, especially, it worked very well.
Yeah.
And so it was a breath of fresh air, and maybe James Bond should have, kind of tried to do what Mission Impossible did, rather than staying in its own lane.
It came out the same year as GoldenEye.
and a
Interesting,
far
yeah.
better film.
I think a far better film, yeah.
film than GoldenEye.
Yeah.
The GoldenEye is just going on branding. It's just living off the reputation. However, I found the plot a little bit too convoluted in Mission Impossible. The set piece obviously has been referenced to death of him coming down into that little security chamber, and that has transcended even the film.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that. Even if you haven't seen the film, you know what happens in that scene.
You're absolutely right, and the train sequence at the end, obviously, with the
Yeah,
helicopter.
but
and the channel
but
tunnel.
that one sequence
in the vault,
particular,
yeah,
in the vault,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's funny because if you watch an interview with Barry Norman, which you can find, he talks about Mission Impossible at that point, and he actually makes the point that he doesn't want to become a traditional action star. It's interesting that essentially now the only movies he pumps out are action films,
Right.
Which is actually something that we'll talk
right.
about in due
Yeah,
course
go
about
ahead.
the changing climate of films.
Yes.
But we have Mission Impossible, and then Jerry Maguire,
Sure.
your favorite film of his second
One
Oscar,
of my all-time favorite
his second
films.
Oscar nomination.
Yeah.
Okay, captures the hearts and minds, loses out to
Don't know.
Jeffrey Rush and Shine.
Oh god.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't seen that film.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
And then in '96, 3 years it takes, collaborating with maybe the director of all directors right before his passing, Mr. Kubrick, on Eyes Wide Shut, to close out the '90s. Okay, with a film that was being promoted behind the scenes, almost in the dark.
Yeah.
You get
Yeah.
tidbits. Do you remember how excited we were?
Yeah, we were very
and then it finally
excited.
comes out.
Kubrick, Cruise, Kidman.
Sex, deception, loyalty, monogamy.
Ultimately, not a great film.
I'm a bit.
I think I need a
it's-
rewatch. I
Me
know
too.
some people have a bit of a affinity towards it, has a bit of a cult following, but is it listen, take all those things away and just look at it as a standalone film. Is it that wow? It isn't.
It's
really.
good.
It's good, but it's not great.
I think.
And at its best, it's good. At its best, it's good.
Yeah.
It's not amazing.
I think it's very clear that, given all the time it took to produce and to make and to direct, that they were really angling for some best picture nods here, and they got none.
Fidelio.
Yes, that was the.
All right,
I'll
can
take
you
the
no,
first.
no, get sucked into
Sorry,
what I'm saying.
okay.
Move on to your next
Okay,
one.
but actually, the very next film, which opens the 2000s. Okay, now this is what you've been waiting for. The 2000s,
Right.
where his kind of public persona takes a lot. But we open up with maybe his best hairdo. Okay, in both Magnolia and Mission Impossible 2.
Right,
Now,
right.
Magnolia, which he
Magnolia,
wins-
now he's gone full okay, now I'm an actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And wins his third Oscar nomination.
Yes.
But is defeated by
My Left Foot.
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine in what film?
The Cider House Rules.
Oh yeah.
Playing-
Okay, fine, very good.
Who's rocking a very, very, very unfortunate accent. I can't stand it when English people try and put on an American or a foreign accent and do it badly. Anthony Hopkins has done it. Michael Caine has done it. Should I do an impression?
Please.
You are a decent painter. That was about it. Oh, I didn't actually see the film.
Okay, listen.
But anyway.
Oh, hold on. The thing is, okay, so now the bad reputation, the mudslinging, shots being fired at him being a bit crazy and kooky is starting to like make headlines in the tabloids, and it goes so far as to the studio for War of the Worlds not putting his picture in the poster in certain regions because he had such a bad reputation.
I did not know that.
Look it up.
Okay,
Look it up.
but first you have the blindsiding divorce from Nicole Kidman, which to this day she never understood, she never saw coming, which.
But she seemed
everyone's
very happy about it. Those famous pictures of her.
No. Which has the tentacles of Scientology all over it, and she was flummoxed. That's the right word, I think.
Bamboozled, I think.
No, flummoxed.
Oh,
blindsided.
I mean, you could just go with it for the sake of comedy.
Bamboozled.
Thank
Fine.
you. Thank you.
Sorry. Okay. But put your hand out. You know. I'm just here to I just love films. You know what I mean? I'm a hugger. God, I busted a rib and got my other rib now. Okay.
No.
Anyway, so this left her blindsided, and she went on interviews, by the way, and dropped that famous line on Letterman. I can wear heels now.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
Cruise, by the way, interesting
So now
footwear
we're
during
like
the
the
90s. I just have to make that point. Just look at the footwear in the 90s. Abu Jamie studied that very, very concisely.
Yeah.
Okay, there are some crazy lift game.
Okay.
Now I've studied lifts. Okay, because as a short man myself, let me just have my moment. Okay, as I have my moment, they do help.
Okay.
They do help. Okay, telegenically. Okay. But the lift game in the 90s was not good. They were these crazy, what do you call it, soles with like that almost had these like tentacles coming out of them. Not good. Okay, it's been it's been vastly improved in the 20s. Okay, and in the 10s.
You got 5 minutes to wrap this whole thing up.
No. We're going. Okay. So,
Please, I beg you. 5 minutes.
Okay. We've got some other good films coming out. Vanilla Sky, a bit of a hit and miss film. Okay, Minority Report
Starts off good, then kind of dips at the end. Go on.
Minority Report, his first
Good
collaboration with Spielberg.
Yeah, good
I'm
film.
not a crazy fan of that film.
Bit out there.
Okay. And then you have The Last Samurai.
Amazing.
Okay, amazing film. Okay, which I think.
But
Go on.
very derivative.
Explain.
It's just basically either Braveheart or Gladiator set in Japan.
Interesting.
It's like
Yeah.
Braveheart set in Japan. That's all it is.
Do you not feel with this film he was chasing what Costner got with Dance of the Wolves, and of course what you said Russell Crowe got with Gladiator?
And what Mel Gibson got with Braveheart.
With Braveheart,
Yes,
exactly right.
He was
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
chasing
yeah.
that, but there was nothing fresh. There was nothing new. The only difference was that it was in Japan.
But the first
in
time,
ancient Japan.
but the first time he rocks a good patchy beard
and great long hair.
and great long hair.
And
But he's
good,
had great long
and good man bun.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's got the
yeah.
Shogun
Yeah, it's true.
samurai
It's
bun.
true.
You like that?
It's true.
Yeah.
Okay, in any case, also we need to mention this before we get into the deep and
5 minutes, I said.
Okay,
5 minutes.
okay. Collateral.
Great film.
Okay,
Great
interesting
film.
film. Michael
you know,
Mann.
and you know what's interesting about that, and I don't want to get into it, and I don't want you to get into it too much. He plays a bad guy, and in fact, you know what? My take is that he plays himself. I'll come back to that.
Oh.
Go on.
Put your hand out. I'm here to.
All right, go on.
Have you seen the wave?
Yeah.
But he's perfected the wave to the order. You know, it's not a crazy. It's like this.
No, listen.
like
all
this.
of that stuff.
like
all
this.
of that stuff has been perfected, has been honed, has been practiced and practiced over and over again. Listen, he's the Mr. Nice Guy now. Everybody loves
Well, he
him
was
now.
always Mr.
10
Nice
years-
Guy.
10 years ago, he was not Mr.
All right.
Nice Guy.
Okay.
10 years ago, he was Mr. Crazy Guy.
Okay.
Mr. Crazy Scientology Guy. Now he's Mr. Nice Guy.
Okay.
This is why it's a Cruise-aissance.
Okay. After a 2-3 year dalliance with Miss Penelope Cruz, okay, which ends also mysteriously,
Yes.
photos emerge in 2005 of him and Katie Holmes.
Right.
Now this is what you want to talk about, right?
No,
all of a
really.
sudden, he's pictured with Katie Holmes, I think in Rome.
Yes.
Okay, emblazoned all over the tabloids, and
let's
then,
tighten it up,
and
let's go.
then, War of the Worlds is opening. He's on Oprah. He's on Matt Lauer. This is what you want to talk about. Take it away.
No, listen, I've already said it.
Go on.
What do you mean? Go on.
Okay.
He's crazy, and then everybody didn't like him. Nobody liked him. Everybody thought he was a nutcase. But then he went underground for a long time, and now he's reappeared, and he's jumping off the bloody Stade de France in the Olympics. That's all I'm saying.
What do you prefer, the jumping on the couch or jumping off the Stade de France?
That's a good question.
I mean, these
you
are
know
important.
what? No, I get it. I
yeah.
get it. But that's my point. My point is he's gone through this renaissance, and it's very clever what he's done. You know, he doesn't give long interviews anymore. If you've noticed, everything's short. He doesn't say anything anymore. Everything's just platitudes. Like, yeah, it was great working for this guy. It was great. There's like, remember how much he used to talk about prescription drugs and therapy and all this kind of stuff. He doesn't say anything anymore.
Yes.
He's learned from those mistakes. He's learned that if he's gonna play this Hollywood game, and if he's gonna last for another 10 years, he needs to shut up. I don't know who's told him that. I don't know who's said, stop with the crazy, but it's working. And it's amazing how he's done this 180. I'm impressed by that. I know you want to talk about every freaking film.
No.
But that's what I would like to say
something. I'd like to say something. I would like to say that for somebody, you're right, who didn't really put a foot wrong up until this point.
Yes.
As soon as he started talking about his religion.
Yes.
Okay, it's incredible.
It's not just his religion; it's everything.
No, but it's all linked to his religion.
You're right.
Because all of his views were derived from that.
Yes.
But it's interesting because we've had lots of actors and celebrities from yesteryear, Ali being obviously one of the big ones who started talking about Islam.
Yeah.
Okay, and it didn't hurt Ali's reputation in the mainstream.
That's not true.
Not in the same way.
No. I think you weren't living there at that time, so you don't know. Right now, he's hailed as one of the most amazing athletes and people in the world has ever seen, an icon of the 20th century. But at that time, trust me, he was derided worse. He was he was crucified for what he used to say and what he used to believe in. Back at that time, we weren't living then. We don't know.
Would you not say?
I wouldn't say.
Okay, well, I would like to say.
Okay, go on.
I think with Ali, it polarized opinion. I think there was a very strong contingent that renounced him for it, but another one that championed him for it. And I think there's a big difference here. I think that Ali, who was a great orator and had a very, very strong mind of his own.
I think you're wrong. I think you're off. I think
really?
The comparison is not.
Okay, all right. Well, I would
you can't even compare the two.
I think that Cruise did a big disservice to Scientology.
He's a black man living in 1960s America.
Yeah, sure.
Do you know what I mean? There's a bit of a difference. Civil. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit of a difference. That's awful comparison. Anyway, go on.
I thought it was a very apt comparison.
No.
I think he did Scientology a massive disservice by speaking out about it all the time. Because I think up until that point, it was a fringe religion. It had a certain sense of mysticism. As soon as he started taking to the airwaves on Lauer and Oprah and all these kind of other things, and started speaking about it, he shed a very, very negative light on it. And actually, because
it is negative, because it's a cult, bro.
Well,
so,
I mean,
whether
people believe that about lots of religions.
No. But there's a difference between cults and religions. Religions you can leave at any time, and nobody says anything.
Yeah, okay,
cults you can't.
That's true.
And Scientology you cannot.
That's true.
Okay.
So he's basically down in the dumps at this point.
Okay. All right.
Paramount
Pictures. 2 minutes left to wrap the whole thing up.
Paramount Pictures, Sumner Redstone in the head, wants to cut ties with him at that point.
Yeah.
Because of his controversial views, and during this period, he's basically pumping out, I think, more modest box office hits. Valkyrie. What else did we have? That Night and Day.
Yes, Valkyrie, Night and Day. He made. We said
Tropic Thunder. Interesting.
Yeah, that's
cameo.
probably his greatest role ever. I think Tropic Thunder role is amazing. Yeah, he made all those films. He made. There was another. Oh yeah, Eyes Wide Shut. You mentioned. Yes. Yeah. So he went through that period of trying to make these deep, Valkyrie and all these deep kind of actor movies that didn't really work out for him.
Bookended by MI3, MI4, MI5.
Yeah. So then he goes back and goes full in on the action films.
Okay.
Right?
Then mysterious divorce from Katie Holmes, who leaves suddenly, blindsides him by all accounts. Okay. There's obviously a big controversy with his daughter.
Yes, of course. This is what I'm saying.
Many years.
And this is when he goes under the radar.
Okay.
This is when something changes and he realizes I can't continue like this.
Okay.
I don't know what happens, but you don't hear anything from him for a while.
All right, go on.
And then suddenly he comes back boom, boom, smiles, handshakes, kissing everyone, loving everyone. You know, obviously very professional. Starts doing all the crazy stunts as well. Leans into the stunts in a big way.
Yeah.
And so people like really respect that, I think.
Okay.
And then now look at him. Now he's everywhere all the time. And by the way, this past summer that I've been talking about in London, which I think now he lives here.
I think he lives here too, yeah.
Like people are talking, speculating about where he lives. It might be up the road. It might be, you know, he might be in this pub right now. Who knows? Point is, he's everywhere, and he's not even promoting a film.
No.
And he's like, he went to the to the premiere of Twisters. It's not even his film.
Yeah.
And he's like shaking hands. Who's his with his like heir apparent?
Glenn Powell.
Yeah, who's gonna be like this? I don't know. Maybe he's gonna pass on the MI Mission Impossible torch onto him.
Yeah.
But he's gonna be the next. Now, here's the question I have for you.
Go on.
Where does he go from here? Because he's like, you know, he's kind of getting on in years. How old is he?
62.
62 years old. Unbelievable. You got to respect. I mean, you know what? You got to respect he's jumping off things and doing all these crazy stunts at his age. And the hair's looking shaggy.
Go on, ask me the question.
No.
Yeah.
Where does he go? Where does his career ultimately lead? Where is it in the next 10 years?
This is the most complicated, actually,
No,
traverse.
you have 30 seconds.
I agree with you.
You have 30
Okay.
seconds.
I think he's gonna pump out. Keep pumping out the Mission Impossible so long as he can rock the hair dye that keeps him young. Okay,
And what
and
is that?
he's rocking the oxidized rust right now. Have you not seen it?
Yeah.
It's got these kind of like gingery, kind of reddish.
It's a weird hairstyle, I
Do
gotta
you understand?
say.
And
Like,
I don't
it's as if it-
understand
yeah.
it's kind of like. It's a throwback to like the MI2,
Yeah.
but with a different
No. The
hair
MI2
shape.
is just long hair. This is sort of like unkept bed head. Like I've just woken up and I haven't been bothered to brush it hair. So I don't know what it is. But anyway,
But do you like it or no?
I mean, I love him now. Listen, I've fallen for him. I used to think he was a crazy nut. I'm just like, I'm a sheep like everybody else. I thought he was a crazy nut 10 years ago. Now I can't get enough of Cruise. I think he's such a cute baby.
So he didn't have you at the first hello. He had you at the second and the third hello. Yeah, okay, I just thought I'd throw that in. Okay, but okay. Also, just to nod out the overall style. I mean, do you think he's
No.
Do you think he's
Stop,
keeping it young?
Stop. Let me ask you, where is he going to go? Professionally, you said he's going to keep pumping out these films.
Yes.
So he's going to keep making action films. That's what you're saying.
I think he's going to keep making action films, and I think he may transition a little bit to what Clint Eastwood did.
Behind the camera?
No,
Okay.
I don't think he has any interest in that. By
Yeah.
the way, I think he's going to transition to a little bit to what Clint Eastwood did. And by the way, Indiana Jones. I mean, I know it flopped, The Dial of Destiny.
Yeah.
But Harrison Ford is 20 years older than him. He just pumped out like the 5th Indiana Jones film. Okay, and with all that, you know, it's coming. CGI jiggery pokery. Okay, you can have Cruise in the year 2042.
Fine.
Basically, you know, looking like he did in like
Okay.
1995.
Okay.
So I think there's going to be that, and I think there will be some. I think the question is when is he going to start like allowing his hair to take the natural gray color, the Himalayan ash
Okay,
cloud?
since that's your
big
focus.
I say age 71.
Okay, very
I've
good.
earmarked
Thank you.
it.
Thank you. Okay, listen.
Although Ian
what I
McShane-
think
Ian
is gonna
McShane
say-
is older
okay,
than that, and he's still walking
that's
the
him
surf.
professionally.
All right.
Okay, I think personally.
Yeah.
As we've seen time and time again, as these stars become older and more vulnerable,
Okay.
suddenly all the shit is going to come out. I think all the skeletons are going to come out of that cupboard. It's all his deep dark secrets are going to be exposed for the world to see. And I think this 180 that he's managed to do is going to backfire completely. And yeah, all the people he's worked with, his ex-wives, you know, all the girlfriends, they're going to come start talking shit about him, and we're going to get to, maybe not the truth, but as close as we can get to the truth than we have
You
till
actually
now.
just say those words. You can't handle the truth.
And with that,
I'm just here to.
very good. Now that was a good segue. Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just here to entertain you.